Humans have always craved knowledge and information, helping us upgrade our minds to be a better version of ourselves. And the powerful have always tried to control it. The library was one of the first to bring great amounts of knowledge to the masses, and book burnings were one of the horrible ways the powerful would attempt to control it. The human's thirst for information dates back as far as our species does. So when the internet came to the masses, it was irresistible to the human mind. Because of it being so new, so big, and so quickly, anybody could make a website, or at least post on one, and they did. This brought out ancient information along with new perspectives never before available outside the group that formed them. This seemed to be unlimited information for anyone, anywhere. But as time went on and new technology moved on to the future, new powers began to grow more powerful, and the cycle began again, only this time on a worldwide scale. Meanwhile, people got used to this new world of technology and unlimited knowledge at their fingertips. First just in your office and school, then perhaps a shared device in the home, in your bag, in your car, on your desk, and in your pocket. Soon to be on your face, in your glasses. It was that you would do your research, press those keys, get that work done. Now that work can be done on its own. Now these devices can run themselves. Now it could perhaps lie. Once perhaps an interesting hobby or pastime. Once a tool to get work done. And now we've become so dependent on it. It tells us where to go so that we don't get lost. It takes down our notes so that we don't forget. It tells us when to pick up our children and will keep them company when we're too busy to do so. It tells us about the nutrition to feed our dogs and where to take and treat our elderly. It's how we meet our partners, where we meet our spouses in life. Some of us have become so dependent on it that we don't even know how dependent on it that we are. And the ones that have realized it have come to the conclusion that we could not go back to living without it. I beg to differ. Like any addiction, it would be hard to break, and I am guilty of being addicted to it myself. All the while these new powers continue to gain more power, collecting and selling our data, changing the way money flows itself, and controlling our access to knowledge, and what knowledge we have access to. They see what our devices see, and they sell that data, all while painting a picture that we need them. It hasn't all been bad, though. In fact, I would argue it's mostly been good. It has brought in powerful knowledge to the masses and democratized education. If you have the will and the drive, you can search up anything that you want to learn on the internet, and there won't only be lots of articles and written tutorials, but if it's big enough subject, there'll be lots of videos too. And some of those videos might have more in them than a class that you would be paying lots of money for. It has democratized access to knowledge and has broken down educational barriers, bringing powerful knowledge to the masses. Pretty much everything I do now, I learned on the internet. It offers numerous tools revolutionizing the way we live, work, and learn. With the right ambition and drive, college has become unnecessary. If you're interested about a certain topic, just search it up. But what if you didn't need to learn anything? What if you could just already know it when you needed it? Maybe you could download it like a computer, or stream it temporarily while you needed the information, perhaps for a fee, maybe even a subscription cost. It's something that science fiction has played around with for years, and imagine the benefits to the ones that could use it. But then again, what happens when someone else is the one that controls the information that everyone's allowed to know? What if there's certain information that's just not downloadable, not streamable? Maybe you have to pay extra in your subscription even to know certain things. Maybe the more money you have, the smarter you are, because you can afford more of those premium downloads or streams or whatever it ends up being. The wet dream of a tech CEO. Ever since the beginning of humanity, we've been upgrading ourselves. From picking up the first stick to sharpening it to make it more efficient. Fire, shelter, riding horses, cars, computers. Now we are at a time we have finally got to the point where we can change the very DNA itself with things like CRISPR, or put a chip in our brain like the upcoming Neuralink. This is Conor Russomanno.
Possibility to help myself and the people I loved.
He is the founder and CEO of OpenBCI, a company working to build ethical brain-computer interfaces, as they call it. He actually has a short and sweet TED Talks that I linked in the description, right under the like and subscribe button. Conor says that his fascination with brain-mind connection stems from concussions in college sports, mainly rugby, among other things. While studying at Princeton, he spent 2 years creating a DIY brain-sensing headset and neurointeractive media. In 2013, he founded OpenBCI, a company building ethical brain-computer interfaces. What a freaking cool name. OpenBCI has distributed over 40,000 neuroscience tools globally. His claim to fame is their Gallia headset, merging bionics with mixed reality. OpenBCI's technology has already helped many disabled people regain much of what they've lost.
Hardware that is used to collect, measure, and record brainwaves.
On top of all the help they're providing to those in need. What makes them noteworthy and inspiring, and why I mentioned him and his company, is because he started with open source code, and they open source their code, which I think is a very important thing when you're talking about a democracy of the future. They're in fact not hoarding any knowledge when it comes to this important breakthrough. From what I've seen of Conor and the people that work at his company, they truly do care about the people that they're helping, which is really nice to see in this crazy world.
Technology is like any other tool. It can be used for good or evil. Like a knife, it can cut your food or it can cut your friend. Probably not that much of a friend. But this technology is nothing short of amazing, and it could do tremendous amounts of good in this world. Curing the blind, saving the paraplegic from a life in a wheelchair or something else, flying jets, driving cars, a lot of amazing, great things. But it could also be used for controlling the population on a scale never before seen in modern history. It brings on amazing possibilities and horrible nightmares.
But I do wonder if it's necessary to have an invasive surgery like our friend Elon Musk says. Why can't they just make a better helmet? I could see it being convenient for somebody that was paraplegic, but other than that, brain surgery is just too much. Sometimes even simple surgeries go wrong. And maybe this is simple when it comes to brain surgery, but it is brain surgery when it comes to Neuralink. My other concern is a similar concern many of us have about all this technology. Who is controlling it? The corporations, the governments, among others, already have the potential to know where our location is, what we like, what we dislike, and the best products to sell us. They know what websites we go on, they know the history, they can take our picture through our own devices that we pay for. I'm not saying that they're doing this 24/7, but they're certainly collecting our data. They say data is the new oil of the time. I mean, I don't think I need to say how much crazier we'd be if they could read our thoughts. People like to talk about electric cars being turned off and tracked without the will of its owner, and all this stuff about the Vision Pro tracking our eyeballs and knowing how much we like advertisements. Imagine if they could know your every thought. If this is truly the world that we're headed towards, and it's just an inevitability that we will be hooked up to some giant mainframe like the Star Trek Borg.
It's not real.
At least make it wireless, for God's sakes. Wireless in the fact that it's not wired into my brain. Regardless, what do you think? Do you wish we could just go back to a simpler time? It would take hours and hours to list all the things that technology has given us as the human race, from healthcare to resource allocation, people's well-being. But it would take almost equally as long to list the negatives. It's a lot to digest sometimes, and I feel like us as the general public have very little say on the matter. And it's just something we have to learn to accept. As the corporations and the world continually upgrades itself. Feels like it's an inevitability at this point, and the world will soon just be one big Borg cube. But I want to remind everyone that the only thing that is real is the moment at hand, and there is no point worrying about the future. Taking care of the now in a thoughtful way will prepare us for the future that comes. Stick up for what you believe in, and stick up for yourselves, and stick up for each other. We have more commonalities than differences. We are all human. Remember to like the video, it truly helps. If you like my face, or anything else you saw in the video, subscribe. And I'll either see you in the next life, or I'll see you in the next video.